Welcome to another episode of Driving to the Rez with Larry and Inelia. Yay!
Last week was better, I think.
Yeah, it's one of those days where getting in sync, got things on our mind, places to be, things to do.
How come we're always saying Larry and Inelia these days and we never swap it to Inelia and Larry?
Because I'm first.
Why?
My name comes first.
Why?
It starts with L.
Because it starts with an L?
Isn't that a good reason?
I don't know.
You want yours to come first because it starts with an I?
Sure.
Okay, ready?
Okay.
Welcome to another episode of Driving to the Rez with Inelia and Larry.
Yay!
I totally dig it.
Yeah, see, it sounds really good too.
Mm-hmm. I think the Inelia goes first because it starts with an I.
Yep.
Except for when it doesn't.
Okay.
It's going to be interesting to see how we start next week.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
I mean, in more ways than one. My thought for today was to talk about... Well, was I interrupting? Did you have something on your mind?
No.
Why now?
Why what?
Why now?
Why now what?
Why now do we have everything going on? Why is it like aliens and New World Orders and whatever, presidentals and chaos in the streets and people doing this in their arm thing so that they can go places that they don't need that to go places? And why now? Why all this stuff now? Why? I mean, 2012, I checked. 2012, that was like the day that the world was supposed to end, the new world started. Remember that? I know you said you're going to stand by with popcorn and watch it happen.
No, I said we're going to watch nothing happen.
You were going to stand by with popcorn and watch nothing happen. And I went to a dinner party to watch it happen at the dinner party.
Yeah.
And nothing happened.
Yeah.
But if this had happened, what's happening now, we would have said, "See, I told you so!" Because it feels like the world is ending and the world is starting simultaneously. And look, the little beetle bugs, the ladybugs are awake. They're coming out of hibernation.
Yeah.
So why now? Why now and why not then? Because we were all ready for it then.
Well, things changed, Things changed. In 2011, things changed. Before that, I was 100% sure that the entire planet was going to ascend into awareness and sovereignty and being able to live long enough, for people to live long enough to become adults.
That's something you talked about with me the other day, about there is no adults on the planet.
No.
Even like the Saint Germain, remember in his lifetimes, life after lifetime, he doesn't even count as an adult. He's kind of like to the side of it, huh?
Yeah.
He's not really engaged in it fully as in the game of it. He's like playing the cheat codes.
Yeah.
Or what?
More like outside of it, not really in it,
Sort of.
Because it's like, I have a mum and dad, but, they live in Australia and I've never seen them. What's the point of having a mum and dad in Australia you've never seen or talked to? You don't actually have a mum and dad. Right?
Well, I don't understand the analogy, but maybe you can try another one.
A parent is more than just an older person. A parent guides and nurtures and provides the environment for the person to flourish, and also protects and gives shelter, right? All these things. That's a parent. And an adult.
What do you mean by adult?
Yeah. And like somebody who, that's what I mean by an adult, right? Somebody you go for guidance, wisdom keepers, somebody who knows what the hell to do on the planet when you come in, can give you some pointers. Yeah,
so you go off down this road. It's going to get really muddy and dirty. If you want to get muddy and dirty, go ahead, go down that road, but that's what's going to be down there.
Yeah,
and then you get down there and you get all muddy and dirty and you say, "Hello, oh, guess what? My truck is stuck. I say, yes, I know. So here's some of the things you can try. You can get a little winch thing and stick it on a tree and pull yourself out. You can call this number. Or if you want to wait until I get there, I might come and be able to tow you out. Depends on what I'm doing. Oh, yes, I'm not doing anything.
Right.
That kind of a...
Yeah, so that's a difference, right?
That's what you mean by adults. Mm-hmm. There's no adults on the planet.
Right.
Because the people who presume to, I guess I would say, the people who pretend to be the adults, or who believe they're the adults, my experience with a lot of them has been, not so great.
No, not so good.
Because they do definitely tell you, hey, this is the way, but this is not the way, I gotta say. Mm-hmm. But I found out later.
Right.
Looked fine to start with.
Yeah.
That's the cult thing, even.
A cult thing?
The cult thing, yeah. The leaders of the cults, they would be pretending to be adults.
Oh, that's right, yeah. Yeah, they would. So, but yeah, they don't foster independent sovereign beings. Cult leaders will foster codependency and fear.
Fear.
The opposite of sovereignty, too.
In a sense, yeah, that fear of being kicked out of that group, right? Yeah. So you have to conform, things like that. Like, you've got to get your little thing in your arm or else you're not a part of the group. Right. I guess that is a cult, right? That is a death cult, isn't it?
It is a death cult, yeah.
Ah, yes. So while people are looking out for the wrong cult, they're in the other cult.
Yeah.
Who would have guessed? But yeah, they are... I imagine that's probably part of what makes them attractive as someone to follow and look and lead, because you're looking for that empty thing. Well, I don't mean empty thing, but you're seeking
the natural
higher
progression, right?
Knowledge and guidance into the things that while you have the tendency and memory, and I guess everyone has it inside them, right? You're still learning how to walk, so to speak, spiritually, emotionally, mentally, those type of things. Right. And after about, 200 years or so, you've got the hang of it for the most part.
After that 200 years, you'll probably be just stepping into what you might want to study in life.
For your first, it's like first breakfast?
Yeah. So 200 years.
Or second breakfast, or what?
You tried a lot of stuff because you had 200 years to try stuff, but you're not quite committed. You might even got good at stuff, yeah. You're not quite committed to what you want to do for a long period of time. So you've tried a lot of things. Maybe you're down to 3 or 4 that you might want to go into depth a little bit more to see if that's what you want to do for a longer period of time.
I can see you've tried things to the point of exhausting them. You've tried another thing to the point of exhausting them. And then you've maneuvered to the point where the things aren't the thing. It's maybe an embodiment that's the thing, right?
I don't understand what that means.
So, for example, I could be a fisherman for a while, like 20 or 30 years. Yeah. I could have been selling cameras for 1 year, and I exhausted that. Mm-hmm. I could have been riding bikes for 3 or 4 years, and I kind of exhausted that. I mean, I got to the end of where that held my attention, let's just say. Right. So, all of these things are activities that you do to become good at, for example, or
expert in,
or, they're not offensive and they continue to attract your interest, so you become proficient and you stay. Or, in the case of some, you get pretend trapped and you have to do it because you got to pay the bills or whatever, or you can't move or whatever. But in a sense, at some point, most people reach, they call it middle age crisis or whatever, where you buy a Corvette.
Oh, right? Yeah.
They reach the exhaustion of the thing that held them in that space, and they try to create a new one. So they create the new one, and sometimes they're successful, sometimes they're not, but I suppose that's a 30-year cycle-ish, 20-year cycle-ish, 10-year cycle-ish. Depends on the person, right?
Right.
And after doing that 10 times, you've exhausted it 10 times. You'll probably, at 200 years, try, instead of a thing, try an embodiment of an energy that allows its expression in many different things. So you might be out fishing and driving a red Corvette and selling cameras and riding your bike, but they're all an embodiment of energy instead of focus on a thing. Broader, right?
I like that.
So I was trying to imagine what the culmination of many 100 years experiences might come to, because it can't be just more things you're doing. I mean, at some point you get tired of things, don't you?
Well, it's not about doing things, but also I'm really becoming a wisdom keeper for that thing.
Right.
Or an explorer, which is kind of the same thing.
Is that why we forget so much, so that we can explore over and over again the same
so
thing?
About 60 years would be...
Otherwise, we have already... I mean, what's the word we use? You use divine, eternal being. Mm-hmm. How many times have you already had kids?
Oh, exactly, yeah.
So what makes them interesting every single time?
Right. And how many husbands have you had? And how many wives have you had? And brothers and sisters.
How many
and
times have you sold
brothers?
cameras? How many times have you gotten to the pinnacle of spiritual achievement? How many times have you...
Exactly.
A million things, right?
Mm-hmm. Because basically people are not here to learn things, but to have experiences. So if you base it on having experiences, then the whole thing shifts and moves. Everything shifts and moves. So before 2011, the entire planet was going to raise in frequency and awareness and vibration. Mm-hmm. And in 2011, the planet on Earth, everybody on Earth is represented by their collective, decided to have a split instead. So that's what happened. And then that split has 3 generations to be carried out in, and we're 10 years in, so, it's happening.
Yeah, it's undeniable. When you look, you see clearly there are people picking sides of the split, so to speak.
Yeah.
And depending on what they pick, you find yourself going, how many times anyway. I'm sure for some of you, you're like, oh, totally seen that coming. But other ones, you're like, I told them like 500 times. And look, they did that anyway. Why? What causes people to pick one or the other when they're like enlightened, or they're awake and they're aware? Maybe even they're your own child. I mean, how many times you tell your child not to touch the hot stove? Most of them don't touch it. Some of them are like wild child, but most of them, okay, I won't touch the red hot fire stove, Dad. Mm. They don't have to touch it to learn.
No, they don't.
But some of them are wild. They do.
Well, I think with regards to the splits, I don't think it's to do with the stove, because people knew what they were choosing. A fear-based experience or an enlightened experience, right? Awake and high-frequency experience. They knew what they were choosing, and it's just a matter of carrying out that choice at a physical level.
But why with some of the people who you basically feel like you have responsibility for, your children, even when they get to be over the arbitrary age of 16 or 18 or 21 or whatever age, they're still connected to you. And sure, they don't have to do what you say, but, it would be nice if they continued to listen to you. Right?
Yeah.
Why do they become independent, sovereign beings of their own? Why can't they become just obeyers?
Well, the whole obey thing is an illusion anyway, so everybody's actually an eternal divine being having experiences on the planet, but it's their choice to see what experiences they want to have. And those choices might not be what your choices are for them. But unfortunately, they're the divine being, and
they're
that
not
made
here
the
to
choice.
live the life I pick for them?
No.
Why not? I brought them here.
No,
they should do what I say, right? Oh. So maybe there's a family construct, that's set up and designed to, create dependencies. And then maybe there's others who take over that role when the dependency gets shifted over to them through the schools and things like that. Mm-hmm. So there's a slight hijacking of the family.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
I think that was my point.
The family unit aspect of modern society is so unnatural, and that's why you have so many people suffering from extreme depression, is because they're isolated and alone.
Even when they're surrounded by people, they're still isolated and alone.
Exactly, yeah.
I think that's why you've suggested that it's imperative that people find their tribe, right? Mm-hmm. And I suppose we expect that our tribe includes our family, right?
Oh, no.
We expect that.
No, we don't.
Some people do. I expected that.
You expected your family to be your tribe?
Your family should be a part of your tribe. You would expect that because it seems like that would be expected. But I mean, I know there's some members of my family that I might not, well, I actually don't include in my tribe, huh?
Yes.
So I'm not the only one picking what tribe they want to, or my family wants to be, and they probably don't want to be in my tribe.
And a tribe is more than just a dad with his children, you know? Because, I mean, when I think about your family, I'm thinking of your children. And it's not like a way of your strength is my strength and my strength is your strength. I see it as a one-way system where dad supports and helps and gives, and they just receive and take. I haven't seen it coming back. I mean, rarely once or twice I've seen it coming back in the entire 6 years we've been together. And I don't see that as a tribe at all, right? So that's the opposite of a tribe. It's more like a codependency or something. I don't know what it is. But it's different, you know?
Yeah, so maybe that's part of what should be helped in its definition. What do you mean by find your tribe? What does that mean,
a location
literally? And
a people, especially a people that you can literally say, your strength is my strength, and my strength is your strength. And you can literally say that. Our strength is your strength, and your strength is our strength. You can literally say those sentences, and they're real, they're true. That's your tribe. And the frequency and the ideology or the belief system or reality construct or perception frequency band is compatible with each other, then that's your tribe. And it's very important for people who are awake to find those tribes, because if you isolate yourself and go back to the lone wolf, you're not going to do well. Guaranteed.
That's going to be hard. I'm seeing people in they're literally part of our tribe, in the sense that if they were, I mean, how do I even say that? Members of our tribe, part of Walk With You Now, Talk With You Now, they're off on their own, doing their own thing, separated from everybody else. And it's harder for them.
It is.
I can see it.
You can see it.
And it's harder for them for the reason of the separation part.
Isolation.
Because it's important to be able to connect with your tribe at a physical level, yeah?
Yes.
It's fine at a Zoom level, but we know, I mean, Zoom is a good substitute for zero, but it's not the same as a physical contact, because we are a physical being.
Yeah.
Also.
Yep.
That's why it says when you want to raise your frequency of your souls and your bodies, including your mental body, your physical body, right? Not just one of them.
Right.
All of it.
All of it.
Right. So when you say find your tribe, that means find the people whose strength supports you and you support.
Yeah. But it's a word, it's mutual, yeah. It's mutual, it's not one way.
Right. You're not there to carry them. They're not there to carry you. But together you are stronger, more capable, able, and support each other. So, I mean, we tend to use examples of like, oh my gosh, I woke up this morning, I have a terrible body ache, a headache, and I don't feel good. And so how is that being supported, or how would that be different, if you had a tribe, If you woke up that way and you feel debilitated and something's wrong, just something's out of whack. You don't even know what, but it's just not right.
Well, somebody else will go to the store for you if you plan to drive that day.
Yeah.
Or they might drive you.
They might bring you some chicken soup, or they might bring you some vitamins D and A and K, and say, "Hey, oh my gosh, you caught it! You caught a poisoning or a sickness. You're not doing well. You need to get some of this and have a rest today, for example."
Yeah.
And if you were alone, you'd be like, "Oh my God, I have to go to work. I need to do this, so I'm going anyway," and you just dig yourself into a hole.
Yeah.
That would be an example. But let's say you want to go outside and you want to go for a bicycle ride around the lake. Mm-hmm. Who are you going to go with?
Right.
Your tribe. Exactly. You could probably call one of them and say, "Hey, you want to go for a bike ride around the lake?" And they would say, "I have work. Of course I want to go for a bike ride around the lake. I could say my computer broke. Let's go."
Yeah.
But basically, it's it's like when you're learning to bowl and you have the things that goes in the sides. What are those called? So that toddlers can bowl and the bowling ball stays in the middle.
Right. I don't know, bouncers or something? I don't know what they're called. Yeah.
You can imagine though, they fill up the edges with bouncy things so that instead of going into the gutter, the ball stays in the middle and you can get a strike. You know, your tribe basically helps you function with those in the gutters, so you don't fall into the gutter.
Yeah. So it's not just...
It's just not on a negative support, on a positive too. It's like, we want to build something.
Okay, so you know how to hammer, you know how to weld, you know how to do electricity, you know how to about
I don't
roofs.
know all that stuff.
And I'm talking about different people doing different things.
Yeah, I don't
and
know
the other
things.
person knows about free energy, and this other person knows about wind energy, and another person knows
I sure hope they're a part of our tribe.
So you all get together and you can build a house. But if one person tries to figure it all out, they might build a house after 10 years or something. It's going to be hard.
Yeah, it'd definitely be harder without your...
Yeah, and they might lose...
help.
Yeah, they might lose interest after about 6 months.
Get a half house or less.
Yeah.
I guess there's also the other part is when you're building that house and you have the support of your tribe, the house that's complete is more than the sum of its parts. It's a co-creative, probably has things that you couldn't have imagined, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. It goes beyond your own.
It goes beyond you yourself. You become more than just you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's easy. That's kind of what I was saying. It's a little bit easy to think of join your tribe so that you don't, fall into the gutter. But there's way more positive benefits to finding your tribe than just not falling in the gutter. That's just like the least of the benefits, right?
Oh, yeah. Just don't go near the gutter, man. Don't put your tribe in that situation.
Yeah, that'd be better even yet.
So the sentence, "our strength is your strength and your strength is our strength," came to me a few years ago. And basically what happened was we were in touch with a species here in the Olympic Peninsula that I'm not the only person who's seen them, because there's macaque drawings and art that depict these creatures for like a long time in the museum. But anyways, before we found them in the museum, we were on a hike and I perceived them, and they would look like they're human. They're definitely human, and they're slightly off of our physical universe. It's almost like they're between the astral and the physical. I think that's pretty accurate. And they're they have a very specific look. They're very kind of skinny. They look very old. You can't tell who's the men and who's the women. And I know that their civilization or their species is separated into not genders but roles. So there's the main two roles they have is either shaman or warrior. And we became very interested and started connecting with the shaman side. And they made huge, telepathic and experiential contact, but it wasn't exactly physical. Although a few times I saw them and I would look in a direction, they wouldn't say anything, And my son, who was, 8 or 9 at the time?
Yeah, he was quite young.
He would look that way and says, "Oh, look at that guy." And he would see them, right? He would literally see them. And so it wasn't just like imagination. They were there, but they were like, the perception of them was a little hard. And at one point, Larry and I went on a hike, and I had something. Oh, my asthma kicked in. We went to the top of a hill.
Mushroom picking, remember, for chanterelles.
Yeah. We were at the top of the hill, and my asthma kicked in, and I was like really dizzy, and I didn't get enough oxygen in my body. And I looked down, and Larry and Missy, the dog, had gone all the way down. And I was looking down and thinking, I can't make it. I can't do it. I'm not able to climb down this mountain. And suddenly I literally felt in my physical body an arm going through my, grabbing my elbow, or wrapping themselves around my elbow on my right, and another one on the left. And I closed my eyes and I perceived them. I perceived that they were like a row of, and I call them elemental shamans, that's my name for them. And I perceived they were holding me, and I said, no, we can't do this because I'm not strong enough, and I'll just pull you down. And they looked at me and they said, no, our strength is your strength, and your strength is our strength. Together we're strong. There's no weakness here. I'm like, oh. And I says, okay, so what do we do? He says, okay, we're going to be moving from side to side, and we're doing a little chant so I could get the rhythm, and we're just going to step one at a time all the way down to the bottom of the mountain, or the hill. And I said, okay. So holding on by their arms, I started swaying side to side, and it just climbed down, and it wasn't an easy climb. It was very slippery and muddy.
It's pretty much straight up and down with pine needles and for dirt and holes and little logs and things. That's chanterelle territory. Yeah. They like to grow on these hills.
And I made it all the way down.
I know, I was watching you too. You were like, boing, 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 boing. You just went down like a puppy dog.
Yeah.
Like, she's got that covered. Good job.
It was really amazing. And that sentence stayed with me, and I thought, wow, I'd never seen it that way. I grew up in England, where if you're the weak point, you get thrown out of the group, you know? It's like they believe in the weak point is the strength point of the group. The
strength is equal to the weakest link.
That's it, yeah. That's exactly how they believe.
You're no stronger than your weakest link.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And this was the opposite.
Yes.
The complete opposite. And since then I understood it. And it was like, wow, that is freaking amazing. So that's the tribe you want to find. That's the tribe you want to find, when your strength is their strength, right? And their strengths are your strengths. That's what you want to find.
Whew, how do you do that? Oh, man.
Well, a lot of people are going to our Telegram group and just spontaneously getting together, you know? People who are familiar with the work and doing the methodology and using it.
That's a good start.
Yeah, it's pretty good. I'm very proud of everyone who's spontaneously doing that. It's very good. Different languages, too.
So, I guess in the process of accepting, hey, I'm here, find me, and other ones are, I'm here too, find me, you can find each other. And in gathering, once in a while, you create the thing that you're looking for.
Exactly.
Because more come.
Yeah.
It's almost like you make it, you build it, and they come.
You have to be aware also, though, that read my article on spiritual predators, because I've been scanning, and oh my god, the predators are out there. Everybody's looking for groups, and the predators are out to grab you. So if you read that article, it's going to give you pointers to detect
the red flags.
The red flags of predators.
Try not to ignore those red flags.
Don't ignore them at
all. No matter how much you want to I finally found them. Don't ignore the red flags. Can you give maybe one or two examples of red flags to watch for?
Well, it's all in the articles, so they can read them. Okay.
Well, where would they go to find that?
At ineliabenz.com.
Oh, that's right. That's a good spot.
And you do a search, and it says spiritual predators.
Okay. Isn't that in a book too? You have a book, something like, it's that really long one to use for an oracle, do you remember?
Oh, yeah, the 2010 2017.
to 2017, something like that.
Yeah.
And it's a oracle book.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I'm sure that article's in there, isn't it?
I think so. I think it came out before that was published.
Yeah. Well, it's an excellent book. Mm. So there are people, that come upon that want to join your tribe or be in your tribe who just now have gotten the alarm clock, I guess. It's like ding, 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 ding. They're like, cannot deny it. Mm. They've taken their choice of which side of the split that they're on, mm-hmm. and they're trying their darndest to embody it. But, some of us way showers, and I'm not talking about just me. I mean, I started in the 2010s, but there's people been started since the 20s. the 1920s, right? Yeah. So this is a path with a lot of curves and switchbacks and red flags and oopsies and all the other stuff. It gets easier as time goes on because the path is more and more and more clear, and since the vibration is, what did you say? Louder. Since you raised the vibration, it's more and more obvious to see a predator who might otherwise go completely quietly in the night. Mm-hmm. So I guess what I was saying is that that book, 2010 to 2017 or whatever year it was, I'm pretty sure it was 2017, that book could be one that I would say, if you have someone who's just starting and they're not quite sure about all of these things and they're interested in a lot of it, this would be a perfect book for them. Mm. Because it has all of the curves that we rolled through 2010 all the way to 2017. And that's a lot of curves.
Yes, yeah, that was a lot. And another thing would be to be proactive. Don't expect a group to be formed and that you can just join. Yeah.
You might be the former.
Yeah, you might be the founder, or founders. So try it out. But yeah, be on your best street smarts and research, and don't ignore your red flags. At the same time, there's another question that I was asked recently about being an activist. And it's like when I say let it crumble, I don't mean for you to not be an activist. There's a difference between allowing the human collective to make their decisions and they take whatever it is that they're taking and go into fear, and that's their decision, okay? But if you are an activist, you will be called and pulled into guarding and safeguarding our human rights around the world, for example. Mm-hmm. So my advice for activists is that before you take action, before you become active, you use the fear processing exercise and use it specifically against anger and righteousness, right? So you process your fears, your anger, and your righteousness. And once all of those energies are processed, then you go and take action and become active. Then you start taking people into court and suing the pharmaceuticals or whatever it is.
Whatever it is that you're doing. Yeah, right? You're
or grab a banner and go into the streets. But after you do that, because if you do it before, all that you will do is feed the monster, right? You feed the beast by being in righteousness, anger, and fear.
Because literally you have narrowed your vision down to one tiny little speck. Yeah. You cannot see outside that tiny little speck.
And that energy is what feeds them. That's their energy. So you're actually making them stronger. That's why you process those energies first. And then you engage. They can't feed off you. They can't become stronger because you're there. I think that's pretty important.
Yes. I think that's critically important.
And it's related to groups because there are a lot of groups out there forming to fight. And they're extremely righteous. And I wouldn't suggest anybody join one of those groups.
It's a bit hard not to get righteous about some of these things,
I know, but that's why you process it, right?
I totally hear you. And it doesn't make you passive. It doesn't make you,
not become an activist. It doesn't do that. It just removes the righteousness, it removes the anger and the fear, and then you become a creative activist, somebody who is like a guardian energy rather than a warrior energy.
Right.
I am guarding my rights. I am guarding my human rights. I'm not fighting the oppressors. It's a different energy.
Yeah, that's the difference between the guardian and the warrior.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's the mature version.
Well,
it's the different frequency version.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I see that. It's sometimes a little overwhelming, I think, for mere mortals like myself to, grok the entirety of it, because we are pretty well used to mostly functioning on
insanity.
Insane level. Yes. It's like, what do you do when you do that? Oh, you push it. What do you do when you do that? Oh, you jump. What do you do when you do that? These are, instinctual things that we've born, learned, and raised to exist within the paradigm we were born within.
Yeah.
So shifting into the new one and then not doing or doing it properly, I mean, it's almost like you feel paralyzed to act in some situations because you literally don't know what's the right action. So how do you get out of that? Mm-hmm. That's a question.
Oh, get out of those programs?
Get out of that paralysis. Because it's like, if I do X, Y, Z, it's like not letting it crumble, for example. But if I don't do X, Y, Z, then I'm like stuck in my house. I can't leave.
I don't understand.
I know. Let me try a different way.
Okay.
Okay, I went to the bike store the other day.
Uh-huh.
And I walked in there after being to a whole bunch of other stores, and they were a bit mask crazy in that store.
Uh-huh.
The other stores, they were tired of it finally. They're like, yeah, don't. We're not. If you want to, go ahead. We don't care. Uh-huh. But this one was like, oh, you gotta. And for me, I was like, oh my God, you guys, aren't you done with this yet? They said, no, it's so dangerous. It's like, okay, fine. Here, let me put this on. We'll do our business, and then I'll be done. I can go. It's not going to kill me for 5 minutes to put this thing on because you guys are, crazy here. And then the friend I was with, he's an older gentleman, older than me, wiser, of course, more experienced, all those things. But when he puts a mask on, he can't breathe. And the last time he did it made him sick for a couple of weeks. Yeah. So they told him he has to put on a mask. And I said, he's not wearing a mask because if he puts it on, he gets sick. Mm-hmm. And the boy was stuck in this like feedback loop because, he's wearing a mask to protect the guy, and the guy, if he puts it on, gets him sick. So it's like, now what do I do? Mm. So in that case, was that the guardian?
Yeah.
Because I wouldn't allow them
to harm
my tribal member.
Right.
Member of my tribe.
Exactly.
You're not going to harm him. You're not going to force him. You're not going to pressure him. You're nothing to him. You're not going to anything.
And it wasn't in a righteous energy of he has a right to be
choose
and
I
blah,
just
blah, blah.
explained the situation to him, frankly.
Exactly. Yeah.
If they couldn't accept that, we would have just left, and I would have got my bike fixed somewhere else.
Right.
So I did good?
Yeah.
Hey, yeah, big five. I'm learning. Oh my gosh. That's pretty hard to navigate these things.
It is.
Sometimes.
Yeah, it can be.
So why now?
Because in 2011 we made a decision as a human collective that we were going to have a split instead of an ascension.
Okay. So why now, though? Because this is not 2011. This is not 2012. This is 2021.
3 generations to carry out the split. 3 generations.
Oh, so this is just the start of it?
Yeah. No, it started in 2011 by the choice. People made a choice.
Oh, then there was that energetic split. Remember that energetic split you told me about?
Yeah.
Okay. So they had that split, and the Lemurians had that split in the past?
Yeah, thousands of years ago.
They said it might be painful, or did they say it will be painful?
They said it's going to be extremely painful.
Oh dear.
The split is extremely painful.
So why do we pick the most painful thing?
Because not everybody wanted to become a sovereign awakened individual on the planet, and if you force them, you break their free will.
Well, that sounds like a bunch of poppycock.
Well, it's true. One of the rules of engagements for this planet is free will.
Something like your children have the right to be free and sovereign individuals, at some point in their life, and don't have to obey whatever you tell them. It's the same thing like that?
Yes.
Oh my gosh. I guess we don't have to like their choices.
No.
And we don't have to engage in doing whatever their choices are either, right?
No.
They can go have a wonderful life.
Yes.
Or a sucky life, or whatever life they like.
Mm-hmm.
But it doesn't change how we feel.
About them.
Yeah. We can feel disappointed, unhappy, and sad.
And love them.
And love them. So what do we do with those feelings?
Suck it up, buttercup.
Oh, jeez. Is that what the Lemurian said? Suck it up, buttercup. It's gonna hurt like hell.
Yep. They did.
That's the best you can come up with, is suck it up?
They came through more as a warning.
That this would be this would be what's coming, so prepare your... So that is why you want to find your tribe.
Yes, so it's less painful.
Yes, because as people make these choices, the consequences become manifest.
Mm-hmm. And you're less vulnerable to the low frequency invitations. The
invitations become less because the people you're around aren't giving you those type of invitations.
But also you become less vulnerable to them. So, for example, one of the things I said several months ago is make sure that you stock your pantry for enough food for you to survive several months.
I remember.
Without food, right? For a couple of reasons. I said I doubt whether they're going to do one of these food shortages things, although it was planned.
Mm-hmm.
But if they whether they do or don't, it's in the human collective. And if you don't have that food, your physical body is going to be extremely stressed throughout all these months.
Sense it,
exactly.
Feel
they hear it in the news and the groups and everything. And the physical body will get extremely stressed. If your physical body is stressed, your frequency goes lower and lower and lower, making you vulnerable to low frequency engagements. And all you have to do is fill that freaking pantry, and your physical body is going to be happy and harder to pull into low frequency engagements. It was simple. It's like, do that and your physical body is going to be supported. You might keep that food for the next 20, 30 years. It's fine. You don't have to eat it. But it's there. And the fact that it's there is what's going to make your physical body more supported during this extremely stressful time for physical body elementals.
It's like a can of Fix-A-Flat, huh?
Yeah.
For me, if we got a can of Fix-A-Flat in the truck,
you feel really great.
I don't worry. We get a flat tire, I don't care. Mm-hmm. Got a cell signal, don't got a signal, it don't matter.
Uh-huh.
So, I'm running over some tough rocks in the middle of the wilderness. Well, it's alright, we got some Fix-A-Flat.
Uh-huh.
We'll be fine.
Yeah.
And I occasionally, like, when I vacuum out the truck, I do that quite often, right?
When's the last time you vacuumed the truck? I don't think I've ever seen you vacuum the truck. And you got mad when I used to clean our truck, because I like to have to clean our truck every week.
Well, I don't remember the last time I actually did. But I do occasionally find a rusty can of Fix-A-Flat in there. It's been there and not used for 10 years.
Yeah.
So,
fine.
It gives me the feeling of security. Mm-hmm. And I very, very rarely ever need it.
Mm-hmm.
If ever.
Yeah.
Same.
Mm-hmm.
It's not I'm afraid of getting a flat tire. It's I don't want to worry about having a flat tire.
Exactly, right. And that supports your physical body elemental. And now it's don't be a lone wolf.
Don't be a lone wolf.
You really, really need to gather with other people of your frequency. Do it. Why?
Know where they
because
are.
Your soul and your physical body and everything is going to be so much better if you're in your tribe. And you will not be pulled into the low frequency engagements. And you won't fall for the, I'll get vaccinated just in case I need to travel in the future because, I love my holidays.
Or I'll get vaccinated because literally everyone else around me is.
And they're fine.
I would be the only one who isn't.
And they're doing just fine. They're still alive.
Yep, they're doing just fine. They're just still alive.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, nobody in our tribe has ever said, "Hey, Larry, let's go. I think we should go get one." I was like, "Get one what? Go get a shot."
No,
not one in our whole tribe has ever suggested that. But we have talked about it, but not about go getting one.
No,
we talked about, oh my goodness, did you know about this and that?
Yeah, side effects and all the people are doing, blah, blah.
Blah, 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 blah. So there's no, door in, no opening for that to engage us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because we have a nice tribe.
Yeah, we do. And nobody drinks alcohol either. In our tribe, have you noticed that?
I noticed it today because somebody said something about going on a helicopter flight to a winery, and somebody said, "Oh, wonderful!" And we're like, "No, we don't drink. No, we drink wine. Haven't drank wine. We don't want to go on a helicopter ride to a winery."
Yeah.
But yes, nobody drinks.
Nobody drinks alcohol.
And I remember, I think in 2010...
Nobody smokes tobacco either.
Dang it. How are we going to get them to start?
I guess we can start.
I don't think so.
No, I don't think so.
I remember when I started smoking was when I was 17. And I remember thinking, well, if I start and I keep smoking, I'll stop after 10 years.
That didn't happen, huh?
It did not happen. Not even close. But one day it did happen. And it happened for real. I never looked back. So I don't know if I want to, open that door again.
No. No, it's kind of unhealthy.
Well,
it's not needed either. I think that I used to like it because it seemed to fill a gap, It's like there was an emptiness inside and I would smoke and it would fill it up. That's the energy I used to get.
Mm-hmm.
But just like all that sacred plants, if you lose control and use them all the time, then you become their slave.
You become the slave, yeah.
Their servant rather than them being your servant. Because I had aunties and stuff that used tobacco for cleansing and, ritual and stuff, Native American way, because of Native American heritage. But it was different. And I remember one of my aunties smoked all her life and she watched another person smoking and she said, "Whoa, they're breathing that smoke in." She said, "They said, yeah, that's how you smoke in it." And she said, "No, you don't breathe it in. I mean, it'll hurt you."
Really?
Yeah, she just would leave it in her mouth and then just blow it out again.
Yeah, I don't know how that would be enjoyable. I don't think I could tempt myself that way. I know I would inhale it.
Yeah.
But that's probably why I don't do it.
And she used to use it for cleansing, they used to put it in their mouth and then blow it onto people.
Yeah, but we could just light a sage and do the same. We don't have to suck it up.
I prefer the sage, I prefer the sage.
It smells better.
Yeah, it does.
Tobacco is pretty harsh.
Yeah, it is.
Smelling.
Yeah.
I mean, I've smelt some that's not. Like the ones that goes in pipes.
Oh, I hate that one.
Oh, I love that one.
Or like the tobacco, cigars?
Cigars.
It's horrible.
So some of them are turds,
Nasty.
I agree, and some of them are not. But I don't know how do you pick which ones. So I think we'll just avoid the whole tobacco thing.
Yeah, let's just avoid it.
When you have I'm not going to say open door, but that they have a place that an open door could start.
Yes.
Why even risk it? Not so much risk it, why even tempt it?
That's why I would stop, because I wouldn't be controlled by an addiction. I remember the first time I smoked in my life was about 3 or 4. And my aunties who all smoked would send me to get their tobacco from their purse and light it and bring it up to her lit then, right? And my cousins and I would take turns going to get it. That was the first time I smoked.
Well, I used to...
And at 14, I was able to, in Spain, it was legal for somebody to buy tobacco.
Oh.
At the time, when I was 14. So as soon as I was 14, I bought my first pack and I was able to smoke properly. But I remember one day I woke up and the first thing I thought was, I need a cigarette. I thought, wait a minute. That's not me. Nobody's going to control me. No, not cigarette's going to control me. That's it. It's over.
Yeah, I did not have that conversation in my head.
I'm not going to have another cigarette until I wake up in the morning and I think nothing of it. I could have it or drop it. Doesn't matter. It took about 6 months. And then I woke up one day and it's like, yeah, it's over. No more addiction. Great. I'm going to get a pack of cigarettes. And this went on for years. And then I would only stop when I planning to have a baby or nurse. So I would stop for years while I was having babies and nursing my babies. And then when they got old enough, I would smoke outside and where they wouldn't be affected by it. But again, after 6 months or so, I would stop because of that energy coming in that I really needed it. I did not want to be dependent on it. I did not like the addiction and I wouldn't allow the addiction to control me. So I would drop it. And then after my last baby, I stopped, and the person I was with at the time, he said he really didn't want me to start again because he lost 2 friends and a grandpa or a grandma, I think, through tobacco smoking. And he really, really was traumatized. So I said, okay, that's fine. And then I said, well, here's the thing. I'm not going to give it up. What's going to happen is when I turn 60, I'm going to start smoking on my birthday. And he says, okay, yeah, we can do that. But we'll talk about it closer to that date. So it was cool. But now we're not together anymore, obviously. But since we got together, it's like, no, it just doesn't seem to be any attraction to it, and there's zero attraction to it, and the opposite. It's almost like icky yucky because of all the, I don't know what happened to it, but it's just not good. I remember, now we do like bike rides and stuff like that, and there's no lack of breath, Yep. And it's different, so.
I woke up plenty of times saying, oh my God, I need a cigarette, and I didn't say, good idea, let's quit it. I was like, where are they? And when I found them fast as I could, and then I made it my mission never to wake up and not have any.
Wow.
Because
it's different, isn't it?
I was good at that.
But did you not realize that they were controlling you? The addiction was controlling you? That you're being controlled by an external factor?
Let's see.
The heart was controlling you?
Yeah. I realized that I was definitely addicted to these cigarettes. So I need to be sure that I don't have any. I need to make sure that I always have some.
So you allow the control to happen?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not saying that was the best move, but I am going to say that there became a day where becoming the slave was unacceptable.
Yes.
And at that moment, it was no longer, not even for 1 minute, possible to continue. At that moment, it was done.
Yeah.
It was painless done. It was just done.
It was just done. It's weird, isn't it?
It's like done. I don't know if you could put that in a bottle. I don't know if you could teach someone that. I don't have any idea whether or not that was a it was just like snap the fingers. That moment, the choice irrevocably made.
Yeah.
That type of thing.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what the split's about. A bit of an irrevocable
choice. You just know.
You just know.
Yeah.
So surround yourself with your tribe who have made the same choice because they can support you through, and you can support them through what comes. Because as worlds separate, it becomes painful. And it doesn't have to be as painful as it could be. Right? So you could be building your little Shangri-La while the world is burning around you, and you're basically in Shangri-La.
Yep.
Or you can be, I don't know, making your house out of steel so you're in the middle of the frickin' fire and it doesn't burn down, but it's going to get awfully damn hot in there, trust me. That's not a better choice.
Hot tin can.
Hot tin can. It ain't going to burn, but oh man, is it uncomfortable. So try to make it easier on yourself. Make that a priority.
Yeah.
No martyrs, no suffering. Just move into what will support me and my tribe.
Yep.
Make that your choice or your chooser.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Instead of like all about I, me, myself, it's about your tribe and supporting them and you.
Yes.
What choices support that?
Exactly.
You like it?
I like it. Yeah.
Which is why we don't have a house here. Try as hard as we want. Doesn't matter.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
I guess we don't really try that hard.
Terribly hard anymore.
We kind of allow, oh, I understand, and then
Yes.
move our focus of our attention in another direction. That's part of why, whatever.
Yep.
So the why now is because of 2011. That's why now.
Yep. That's when we chose the split as a collective, and that's why it's being carried out now.
Took a little while to get the ball rolling, or they actually had those plans in place in that time?
Oh, yeah.
It's just been implemented
it's been
in
accepted.
stages.
Yeah.
Okay.
By the human collective. Don't forget that it's not them and us, it's us, all of us, right? Implementing a split.
Mm.
But interesting times, honey, interesting times.
Hmm. Don't know where to go to from there. Oh.
What?
Is it going to get cold? Is there an ice age coming?
I think that's a conversation for another day.
What?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Is it going to get warm? Is there a heat wave coming?
Well, summer hasn't arrived yet, or spring.
It's freaking cold out.
Oh.
And it's summer.
So I'm probably more like an ice age, you're right.
Oh man. Oh. Okay. We'll talk about the weather another day.
Do you feel complete, honey?
Complete about the why now?
Yeah.
Why is it now manifesting? Do I feel complete about that? Let's see.
Or is it a conversation that is happening, right? All over the world.
It is a conversation that's happening all over the world. The one detail that I think maybe we can finish off on is, why does it seem like choosing a part of the split involves not dying and dying? In other words, you pick one side, you die. You pick the other side, you don't die. Is that the way it is?
Well, yes, because the human collective, this planet is more than just a human collective, okay? The planet has trees and plants and other animals, and Gaia itself, right, who is the sentiency of the planet. And as a planetary collective, we decided to do that jump in consciousness. And then a group of humans and other entities decided, no, they didn't want to do that and it was against their free will. So they're the ones who need to leave. Because the rest are actually going through that ascension. It's just that they need the time to leave and not have the ascension. And once they're gone, it's that freedom, right? Of us to make that jump. But we start it now. We don't wait until it's done. We expand our awareness now. We raise our frequency now. But yeah, it's our planet, man.
I guess if you gotta leave it, there's only one way off. Well, I suppose there's other ways off.
There might be other ways off.
Can the ships come and take some off?
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah. I mean, I'm actually quite surprised that such a huge movement and how many people are choosing to accelerate their departure through death,
Yeah, it's quite shocking to me too.
It's really shocking. I thought it was going to be natural death through 3 generations and then just you wouldn't be reborn here and just high frequency individuals will be reborn here. Mm-hmm. But it appears to be faster than that, I guess. And that's a collective choice too. I mean, everybody has to do a lot of work to get into that amount of fear and go and travel and make appointments or wait in long queues to get vaccinated, you know. It's a lot of effort.
And do it twice at that.
Twice, or maybe it's actually
or
more
now
than twice.
More, 5 or 6, 7 times. Might only last 2 months now. Got to get a booster, and it's variants and et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess they want to be well and surely true.
Right. So yeah, that took me by surprise, I have to admit. Not that we hadn't been warned, we were warned about it.
Okay, well, I feel a little unsettled, but I feel complete.
Okay.
But I think we can open it again another day.
Okay.
Or maybe we can just continue the conversation if there's details about it on Talk With Me Now or something, Walk With Me Now or something.
Yeah.
To the point where we can be, I mean, as reasonably settled as you can be about something that's quite honestly unsettling.
It is very unsettling, it is true.
Yeah.
That's why you have to concentrate on your tribe and your good works and keep busy. Learn stuff, you know?
Okay.
Yeah.
Where your attention goes, your focus goes, or something like that. I think there's a saying around that.
Right. That one. That one.
That one. Okay. Love you, honey.
Love you, darling.